Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Tammy. Jennifer Hansel with CNN. We've heard from groups saying that they had contracts for work that had been granted waivers by the Secretary because they were life-saving activities that were then given termination notices for the funding for those programs. Is there a review to see if these can be turned back on, and how many of these life-saving programs have been cut under these terminations?
Right. Just as a reminder, that part of what it was a blanket waiver in this process, in the review, was, of course, we will continue to fund and continue to act on the importance of money that goes to life-saving work. Many of those programs, which again the President articulated during his address to Congress the other night, certainly did not meet that standard. So we have that blanket waiver dynamic. There are anecdotes of certain issues. We do know that if there's been a problem, that it is reversed. The Secretary is directly involved in this process of assessing the nature of what's happening and who's getting these funds. There is also a process for people to reach into the State Department to make the difference, to apply for a specific waiver, or to indicate if there's an issue and make their case for these situations. And I know the Secretary cares about the nature of foreign aid. It is something that has been, he's spoken about for years throughout also his tenure as a senator. And he is, I have to say, I did not know him well when I started in this position. And his commitment to the country and his personal involvement has been heartening. And I'm sure that in this kind of a dynamic, we've had some frameworks that have been arranged where people can get into the State Department, indicate if there's been an issue, and then action can be taken on those. Yes, sir. But yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
CBS.
Hi there.
To follow up on one thing on Jenny's question. Will we see a full list of the grants and the programs that have been cut or that will be cut in this 90-day review? You mentioned that there should be a conversation with the American people.
Of course.
And that I assume that means it would be something that would be transparent for people to see the list of the programs that have been cut. And then just on related to USAID, there's reporting from Reuters that more than 700 diplomats have signed a letter that is destined to go to the Dissent cable for this department, expressing their concern about the dismantling, of USAID, and the fear that this is undermining U.S. leadership abroad and helping create a power vacuum for the likes of China and Russia to exploit.
Your question's important because it is about the list and what's been cut and what has been kept, and that is something that I want before I presume, because that's something I've learned to not do in this particular role, is to make sure that I have the right answer for you. So I'm going to make sure that we go back and this is also for me it's important because I think many Americans have questions about the nature of the details of what's happening, but it is the foreign policy of the world, obviously clearly major decisions being made, and my goal is to make sure as we can so that there's a serious ability to kind of own the information I'm saying to you. Those are going to be times when I have to come back to you, and this is one of those times. But it's a good question, and yes, I'd like to get that for you.
And Matt's with the Dissent cable.
In that regard, we have a Dissent cable framework that we're very proud of. That is important. And from what I've learned is that did not actually go out in that framework. But also, we will not discuss those if there is internal communications or the nature of something like that transpiring. All right. So done with USAID and our Middle East now, Sean.
Sure.